The following is intended for mature audiences. Viewer discretion is advised.
Welcome, Deadites. It's 2021, and I know full well that I'm not on the YouTube Rewind. So, let's do a rewind of our own, shall we? You lot voted for all this, my Deadites, and I appreciate you doing so. This is part 2 of What If Ichigo was in MHA. Last time I left you off at a pretty intense moment, so I'll pick you up there, exactly at that moment. Rukia Kuchiki of Squad 13, explain yourself at once! Byakuya was looking at his sister-in-law, knowing there had to be some odd explanation, and the answer probably involved quirks. Before she could say anything, the young boy that was on top of her bowed and spoke. My name is Ichigo Kurosaki, and you must be the captains of the Gotei 13. I am very sorry for my intrusion. I am from the world of the living, and believe my quirk is what brought us here. I suppose that makes me what's the word, Rukiane? The word you're looking for, Ichigo, is Ryoka. Ichigo has an odd quirk that allows him the powers of a Shinigami. Everyone's eyes went wide. Genryusai spoke up. Young Ichigo, would you please state your parents' names? Ichigo smiles, not knowing how big of a deal this answer would be. My mommy's name is Masaki, and my daddy's name is Ishin. Hold on, I have a picture of them right here. Ichigo dug through his Shihakusho and managed to grab a picture. He handed the picture to Genryusai. Even if he was angry at what he was seeing, he wouldn't destroy the only keepsake of this boy's family that he had. Genryusai passed the picture around, and everyone in the know was quite shocked, but the photo was returned to little Ichigo unharmed. Little Ichigo. While I have not been to the realm of the living myself in quite some time, I'm the resident expert on quirks. Take a deep breath and think about how you got here, and release. Is he right, other me? Yeah. He's on the money. Let's give it a go. Soul shift! As Ichigo began to soul shift, he was knocked right back down to the floor. Owie! That hurts! Ichigo was bleeding a little, so Retsu took care of that. Fascinating. It would appear that for some force is stopping him from using his quirk, which I assume is called Soul Shift, to leave. Let us attempt to guide him out, shall we? All captains unanimously agreed on Mayuri's suggestion. This little boy did not belong here, and even if he was in soul form, they could just tell from the look. They open the gate, and Rukia holds Ichigo's hand. Okay, let's get you home, Ichigo. Ichigo was really happy to be with Rukia, and there was a spring in his step as he held her hand. I would like to say there was a happy result, but there was not. Ichigo was stopped by a force field. Rukia Kuchiki, inform the boy's parents that he'll be staying indefinitely, or at least until he gains further control over his quirk. Genryusai was preparing for the shouting match he would most certainly have with the boy's father, but nothing could be done about it. Ichigo was stuck in the Soul Society for the unforeseeable future. Remember, Ishin still has his powers in this story, so getting to Soul Society is no problem.
But let's go back in time a little bit, shall we? Ishin and Masaki return home to see their house intact, but there's some internal damage in the house. What happened here? I can only assume that there was a hollow attack. Let's go check the room. Ichigo probably made use of it. I thought he was just being paranoid with it, but looks like it was a worthwhile investment. They go into the sealed bathroom, break the seal, and find Karin and Yuzu. But no Ichigo. Oh no. No. He couldn't have. I think he did. He fought it off. But just as Ishin finished that sentence, Rukia appears.
Pardon me, Mr. Kurosaki.
You should have done your job.
What? Oh, you think he... No. Ichigo is fine. I need you to come with me to Soul Society. Ichigo is most definitely fine. There was a complication with his quirk, though.
What?
You'll find out.
Alright, fine. Let's go. Take me to my boy. I'm sorry, Masaki, but...
I know. Go.
As soon as they enter Soul Society, Ishin sees his boy and hugs him. Ichigo. The boy stops his father.
I know, Daddy. I'm stuck here until I get stronger, right?
Ishin sees Angetsu on Ichigo's back. Huh. So he's got a full-time release on Pakuto. Not bad, son. Of course, there was the issue of where Ichigo would be staying. But as it came up, Ichigo decided to say something.
Can't I stay with Rukia?
He asked like a child that wanted to stay the night with his big sister. Rukia looks at her brother with pleading eyes. He may stay with us, but he is your responsibility, Rukia.
Yes, brother!
Rukia was ecstatic. She had always been fond of Ichigo, and now she'd be staying closer to him and getting closer with the boy. That's all fine and dandy, but I've got to introduce him to a few people. Kaien's still in Squad 13. Rukia answered,
Yes, Mr. Kurosaki? Shiba? I don't know what to call you, sir, but he's the lieutenant.
Ishin's raised an eyebrow at that and chuckles. Kurosaki's fine, Rukia. It is the family I married into, after all. Now, let's go introduce Ichigo to his cousin. Yeah, so Kaien is alive to make this more interesting. Ukitake joined them since Kaien is his lieutenant, after all. Rukia was a little hot under the collar because of her little crush, but let's not go into that, shall we? Well, I'll be. Ishin, you're alive. Kaien leaned over to Ishin. Didn't you have multiple reasons for laying low? What gives? Kaien is referring to the Aizen incident. Yeah, I did, but my boy takes priority. Kaien, meet my son, Ichigo Kurosaki. His quirk and his Shinigami powers are melded together in one, and part of his quirk brought him here. Unfortunately, he cannot return to the land of the living. So I'd like it if you and your sister made him part of the main family. He'll be staying with Rukia for a few days. Is that enough time for Kukaku to make proper preparations? Kaien was deep in thought. Yeah, I'll send her a message right now. Kaien wrote a letter for Kukaku and summoned Kiyone Kotetsu. Kiyone, deliver this letter to my sister post-haste. Reading the room well enough for once, Kiyone dashed out, letter in hand. Not even an hour later, Kukaku Shiba herself was standing at the office of Squad 13.
Kaien, what's this nonsense about a... boy?
Her mouth was agape at the sight of her uncle standing there with a grim look on his face, with an orange-haired little boy that had a massive Zanpakuto on his back.
Isn't he a little young to be a Shinigami?
Now, since Ichigo gets his looks from his mother, she was further confused.
All right, Ishin, explain.
Ishin gets his explanation underway.
Well, that's awful. All right, then. Welcome to the Shiba clan, Ichigo.
Ichigo may only be a child, but a lot of decisions were being made for him, and that just didn't stand right with him.
If it's alright, I'd like to work as a Shinigami. I have these abilities, so I might as well put them to use to get stronger while I'm here. I mean, I can't go home until I get stronger, right, Dad? And hollows do attack the Soul Society every now and again, do they not?
Ishin nods his head and leans into his son's ear. If you're going to do this, be wary of Sosuke Aizen's son. Don't get near him at all. Am I clear? Ishin was being very serious, scarily so, to the point that Ichigo nodded his head without a second's thought. He would obey that order at all cost. Everyone with Bleach knowledge knows about the whole Aizen thing, so I'm just gonna run with it.
So, how about we all enjoy a meal?
Kakaku was saying with a smile that was loaded with intent. You're not just offloading your kid and leaving today, is the vibe she was giving off at the moment. And his instincts would be 100% correct. Ishin had an afternoon meal with the Shiba clan before dropping his son off at the Kuchiki residence. Before Ichigo's eyes was a very pretty looking auntie who really looked like Rukia a lot.
Well, hello there. You must be little Ichigo. Rukia won't stop talking about you. It would seem you're every bit as adorable as she lets on.
Ichigo smiled at Hisana.
Don't worry, Daddy. I'll make sure to get strong and become home someday.
Make sure that you do, Ichigo, or your mother will be sad. Ishin turned away, but for you guys, a single tear fell from his eye. He knows that it will be quite some time before he can truly master his abilities. So Ichigo might not see his entire family for quite some time. Ichigo was told he'd be sharing Rukia's quarters, and he beamed at that. But he took one look at Hisana and noticed her frail look.
Miss Hisana, would you please have a seat? And this robe, please? I need access to as much bare skin as possible for what I'm about to do. I swear it'll help you.
Hisana was taken aback, but chose to humor the boy. Ichigo places his hand directly on her chest.
Breathe in and out, please.
Hisana does as told, while Rukia watches in shock at Ichigo brazenly touching her sister. All the other house members could see this were watching, curious of where the boy was going with this. Ichigo paid attention to Kisuke when he was researching and practicing spiritual healing arts. He also paid attention to his parents when they practiced normal medicinal procedure at the clinic, and would sometimes stand in as a not nurse but per se, but an aide. Ichigo felt an erratic heartbeat.
Now cough, please.
Hisana did as told. Ichigo had done this once when Yuzu was sick. Of course he had no idea what it was at the time, but now he does to a point.
Okay, Ichigo. Focus. You know how to do this, but it's time you know this ability's name. Soul Resonance.
What Hisana felt could only be described as pure bliss as Ichigo childishly and innocently ravished her body with his oddly skillful hands. Every place he'd touch would elicit a pleasurable feeling, and eventually she'd let out some sexy moans that fazed even Rukia herself. Of course, Ichigo is far too young to understand any of that. All he knows is that he's alleviating her pain, so maybe that's what the moans are for. In a part, he's correct, but still. If I'm not being clear enough, the touch of soul resonance is orgasmic. Hisana was an utter mess, and everyone just looked at Ichigo with blank stares. Short of Hisana, who was looking at him with poise and grace. She most certainly wasn't wearing the goofiest grin Ichigo had ever seen. Not at all. If not for his age, some might have accused Ichigo of doing something untoward. Ichigo just looked at all the grown-ups in Rukia in confusion.
Did I do something bad? It sounded like Hisana and Neichan liked me healing her.
No one wanted to touch that explanation with a 10-foot pole, but Hisana came to her senses soon after Ichigo's question.
You healed me. I had been feeling quite ill as of late, but since you did whatever that was to me, I feel amazing. But, little Ichigo, you should warn people that this ability of yours feels rather pleasant, so they can prepare themselves for it. Perhaps you should go to the fourth squad and learn more about healing.
Byakuya goes to his wife and holds her. What was that just now, Ichigo? What was that just now, Ichigo?
It's called soul resonance. It allows me to view one's soul and press mine into it to remove the bad feelings, I guess. I don't really know how to put it better than that.
Everyone got his childish explanation. In short, he could see the ley lines of the soul and locate any points of stress to said soul and body, and then write it, actually. The result is the feeling of pleasantness. Just to be certain, Byakuya's mother and father stepped up to the plate. Ichigo was a little confused, but he wasn't going to say no to getting better at understanding of his powers. Since there wasn't as much wrong with them, they received nowhere near the level of pleasure that Hisana got. Poor Byakuya would have his work cut out for him, and topping that, Ichigo would keep the insistence of the Kuchiki family in his mind on warning the recipients of his soul touch. Ichigo goes on to explain that Hisana was showing signs of, was it Pneumonia? No, that's not it either. Oh, right, pneumonia. That would have been really, really bad if I hadn't caught it, Neichan. Ichigo goes on to explain how bad it would have gotten without his intervention, and it's made clear to Byakuya.
I must secure this boy at all costs. He seems infatuated with Rukia, so that will help.
Time goes by, and Ichigo is collected by Kaien. Now I am certain that some of you are curious why he didn't spot a certain someone's sickness. The answer is simple. Jushiro Ukitake is in one of his dry spells and is therefore in a state of improved health compared to his usual state. However, the seeds have been sown in Rukia's mind, so that might happen a little later on. She's found a possibility to help her captain after all. Of course, she's not going to force the Saiyan on Ichigo. She'll hint at it and suggest it. For all she knew, he needed more time really to be able to tackle whatever it was that ailed Ukitake. To her understanding, it was a lung disease of some sort. Ichigo was a smart cookie and read many medical books, so maybe he knew what was wrong with him. The medical advancement of the realm of the living was incredible after all. Just to be clear, Ichigo wasn't reading flat-out medical books. He was reading ones that were translated and worded in a way that someone in his age range could understand, but they were legit medical books, so. Ichigo kicks it off with Ganju to a point,
but his lackadaisical nature is annoying the hell out of him.
Kune-sama, if Ganju has all the time to play, why doesn't he work more? He's wasting his potential. Ugh, what's the word?
Kukaku was laughing at her cousin.
The word you're looking for is potential, Ichigo. That boy has time to grow, and trust me, he will grow if I have anything to say about it. Not every child can be as driven and dutiful as you, but I guess you have a good reason for being so considering your circumstances.
A hell butterfly came with a message for Kaien. Huh. Well, it would appear that Ichigo shall be working under various squads until we find a proper fit for him.
Due to the familiar relation to me and the friendly nature he has with Rukia, he'll be starting with the 13th squad. Well then, Ichigo, let's get you tested to see where you stand. Kyan was not expecting to see every captain and lieutenant to be present for this.
Ichigo Kurosaki of the Shiba clan. Usually, you would be made to attend the academy and then face a hollow, but given that you cannot enter the realm of the living in the first place, and you seem to be in possession of great skill, we shall waive this process. Instead, you shall face an opponent and either prevail over them or last 5 minutes against them.
Ichigo sighed. Mr. Head Captain, if I may,
Genryu nods.
Either throw a captain or lieutenant at me, or don't bother at all. You know who I've trained with, sir.
Ichigo receives another nod. Now I'll state this right now. Despite my choice of people, don't assume the year. You may find yourself entirely wrong. Back to it. Kyan almost stepped up to the plate, but Ichigo shot that one down.
We've been training together. I want a blind fight.
Byakuya smiles at that. Ichigo Kurosaki of the clan Shiba. Your opponent shall be Renji Abarai of the 6th Division. What say you, Ichigo? Ichigo had Zangetsu drawn and ready to fight.
If you liked that, let's get a United States smash on that like button. If you're not subscribed, consider going full cowling with that subscribe button. And let's go plus ultra with the notifications. Ring that bell, baby. Rest easy, Deadites. And remember, the night is ours.